What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm making a short video. This is not my post-game analysis video. I'm still working on that. I am going to expect to have that tomorrow, just with the way things worked out today, and tomorrow with the things I have going on. It's just going to work out better to, give me enough time to get it all put together, because I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to give you all the stats for the game, the numbers, and then I'm going to give you, some good commentary from the actual, game and things that happened with some nuance, because, I want to make sure to give you the full picture. That's the good and the bad, the places for improvement, as much as, the things that they did well. And there was definitely a lot of good to talk about, but there are things that, some areas of improvement and so on and so forth that are going to need to be discussed too. So yeah, anyway, I will be getting that to you guys tomorrow. There is some big news that came out. The Dolphins have waived a player. They got rid of a player, and so let's get into that. Jordan Howard was waived by the Dolphins after being inactive versus the Chargers. The Miami Dolphins released veteran running back Jordan Howard on Monday, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Howard, 26, was inactive for Sunday's game, while Salvon Ahmed stepped into the starting lineup and thrived, rushing 21 times for 85 yards and a touchdown and catching one pass for 19 yards. Howard already found himself below Myles Gaskin on the depth chart, but Gaskin and Matt Breida both injured this week. Howard's absence on Sunday in favor of Ahmed, Patrick, Laird, Malcolm Perry, and DeAndre Washington made it pretty clear that his time in Miami was ending. Howard had a shot as the starter in Week 9 and didn't make the most of it, rushing 10 times for 19 yards. That left the door open for Ahmed, blah, 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 blah. So, look, it is what it is, right? Just a couple quick things to say about it. One, at the end of the day, considering his production, it doesn't really matter, right? He proved to be, a pretty good short yardage and goal line kind of, running back, and he has a few of our touchdowns on the season, right? So there is that, but based off of his overall production, it definitely is not much of a surprise. But, that's one less person in the room. You can counter that with, well, they got plenty of guys, especially when, Breida and Gaskin come off of, get back from injuries, etc., etc. So, again, not really much of a surprise that it happened and whatnot. But I do want to add in that it is yet another player that is added to the long, long list of failed evaluations by this organization under Chris Greer, Marvin Allen, Reggie McKenzie, and Brian Flores. Now, look, while I do think that there are going to be big caveats on this season, right? Like the fact that, injuries are just absurd and, COVID, and you can't really evaluate and so on and so forth, right? I do think that's the case. The Dolphins are in great position right now, right? And they're doing good things. They're, looking to go on a stretch. I expect them to win their next few games. The Bills surprisingly lost. Looked like they did have it wrapped up. It was a Hail Mary play. I mean, it was, one of those chance plays. There were three of their top defenders, in fact, around DeAndre Hopkins, because they were playing the Cardinals, to defend, and Hopkins just came down with it, right? So it just is what it is, right? He made a good play. But that did drop them. So there is potential the Dolphins could still take the division. I don't know if that's going to happen. Like I said, I doubt it could happen with tiebreakers or, divisional or conference record tied in, because they're already way ahead of us in those departments. So it's likely that if we were to take the division, it would be based off of overall record, right? So I do believe that there are plenty of caveats on this season, but we are getting to enjoy, a lot of, good play from the team, a lot of excitement, especially recently, particularly with the defense. And then obviously people love that Tua's in, even though I think that he's done a solid job, but he hasn't been, the world beater superstar yet. Now, I think there was, again, improvement in his third start. and showed a little bit more consistency and some more flashes, right? And so that's good. That's what you want to see. But he did make some more mistakes. We'll get into that in the video. But they're on a roll, and they're, looking to go on a roll or continue their roll and can make it into the playoffs. And this season can definitely end better than expected. Now, obviously, they got to do it again next year and the year after that. They got to prove that they can consistently get to the playoffs and push for a division title, etc., before they can be, before it can be said that their, tank job and their, approach to building this team and this organization has worked. There's still a lot that can happen that could go wrong. And cause it all. I mean, again, still one injury to Tua, one bad injury to Tua could totally fuck things up. Again, obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. We hope the entire team stays healthy. Unfortunately, Kyle Van Noy had to come out of this last game, for a bit with a hip injury. So, and the team's getting more beat up. They still have, another 7 games to play. So we'll see how it plays out. But if they can stay healthy, they can absolutely continue to overachieve. Now, look, again, I have my, concerns and questions, certainly, with a lot of these players, right? Including Tua because of their injury history. I don't like being a big spender in free agency. Even if they make this whole thing work, right? And even if they do turn the Dolphins around, I'm still not going to agree with being a big spender in free agency. It's just not how I like to do things, or how I would like to do things, and how I wouldn't, I wouldn't do it that way. I'm never going to agree with the tanking philosophy. So even if they manage to become the first team ever in the history of the NFL to make it work, like legitimately make it work, I still won't have agreed, or I'll still never agree with the approach. I think that there are better, smarter ways to do things without having to totally destroy yourself in the process to get there, right? So anyway, but and because of those other factors on the season, the Dolphins are absolutely overachieving. But we are getting the opportunity to see some of the potential of the team. And as I've said many times, this team has a ton of boom potential, but there's also a ton of bust potential. And so, look, the Dolphins are, if I'm keeping it real, they're getting lucky in so many ways this season, right? So you can talk about individual small little things, like some of the bad decisions Tua made in these previous games. A couple of the things that pop off at the top are in the Cardinals game, a couple interceptions that he should have thrown that he didn't, or that didn't count as interceptions, because he got lucky on a couple, in a couple different ways there, right? The fact that their kicker missed that somehow miraculously missed that kick, even though it was on target, didn't get tipped or anything. He just didn't kick it far enough somehow. I don't know, right? But then there's other ways, like, for example, when they had to play the 49ers, who actually are a really good team, you wouldn't really know it from this season, and that's why I say you can't properly evaluate any team this year, because it's not a normal season, and there are extenuating circumstances that make this shit really difficult, if not impossible, to properly evaluate. But when we played the 49ers, right, they were just so decimated by injuries on both sides of the ball that it just wasn't even fair, really. It wasn't an even matchup. It wasn't teams at full strength, when we pretty much were at that point, right? Anyway, so you get the point. But because of a lot of those things and the circumstances that we are under, we are getting to see a lot of that boom potential. Now, hopefully, they can remain healthy, continue their push, get into the playoffs, and hopefully it can end, the season can end on a really, really high note, right? And they can, have said that they made the playoffs, and they, everybody's going to be running with the narrative that, look, man, they just after one season, they turned it around. I mean, again, no matter how you look at it, that's not true no matter what, because before you can say that they are, consistent winners and consistently get into the playoffs, they actually have to do it, right? So no matter what, we're still a few years away from being able to even say that, right? But if they do that, But, you know, people are going to run with that narrative should the season turn out, you know, as it looks like it might, with them having, you know, way overachieved. Right now, of course, I'm not the only one that thinks this is overachieving. All of the bettors going, you know, all sports bettors and pretty much every analyst and expert, right? Now, that's not to say that they're always right either, but it was pretty much unanimous, right? Through, except for like the most diehard Dolphins fans or whatever that like, and some of the beat writers that just like to, you know, live on the flowery side and think everything's fucking gonna be the greatest thing in the world and we're just gonna go to the fucking Super Bowl and blah, 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 right? Like, you know, the people that like to live in that fantasy world. Nobody expected the Dolphins to be a 10-win team, you know, possibly winning the division or anything like that, but it's possible now, right? So because of how the circumstances changed, right? The data input, the factors changed. So anyway, point is though, is it definitely can end on a high note, and we are seeing a lot of that boom potential. What we hope is that they do stay healthy. We get there next year. I mean, you know, there's probably still going to be a lot of fucked up shit with next year because I don't see COVID going away, frankly. But anyway, so let alone a bunch of other extenuating circumstances and factors as well. But, you know, see if they can do it again next year, right? See if they can repeat. See if they can continue to improve and make progress and, you know, actually do it again next year, right? So, you know, if they win the division, let's see if they can do it again next year, right? If they make it to the playoffs, let's see if they can do it again next year. If they're a winning team, 9-10 win team, let's see if they can do that again next year, right? So all of that still remains to be seen, and they have to prove it consistently. They haven't done it yet. We're seeing a lot of the boom potential. Let's hope that continues and they reach that and they continue that and it stays that way. And hopefully we never see the bust potential that I have, you know, very vigorously laid out as potential possibilities for the future. Hopefully they have made the right decisions. Hopefully they've proven to make the right decisions, but that has not been bore out yet. We will see. Anyway, there was kind of a lot added there to really just give you the update that they released Jordan Howard. So, cool. I don't know, I guess. You know me, I go off on tangents. So, anyway, I am going to wrap it up. That's really all I got because it was really just about the Jordan Howard release. And I just, you know, had those couple things to say. I mean, it doesn't really have any big effect on the team overall. They got plenty of bodies, and they got guys that are certainly more productive than him. But it does add another guy to the long list of failed evaluations that this organization has, you know, gone through. Let's see if they can get guys that stick and fucking, and, you know, get this thing turned around. All right, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And, of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.